Good evening, everyone. Old Man at the Bridge, written by Ernest Hemingway. First of all, we will know who is Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway was an American novelist, short story writer, and a journalist whose simple and understanding writing was a strong influence on 20th century fiction. One of the shortest of Ernest Hemingway's short stories, Old Man at the Bridge, is based upon an incident that took place during a Easter Sunday stopover at the Ebro River while Hemingway was a war correspondent covering the Spanish Civil War. Old Man at the Bridge demonstrates the power of narrative art. Hemingway takes a small, ordinary detail in a situation and, through the art of storytelling, transports it into a powerful story about the tragedy of war. The old man becomes a symbol of countless civilian victims of war, those without politics, displaced, disoriented, and alone. He is faced with the inevitability of death. Disordinate, to move something from useless place. Old Man at the Bridge, Ernest Hemingway. An old man with steel rimmed spectacles and very dusty clothes sat the side of the road. This story is about an old man who has steel rimmed spectacles and he has wore very dusty clothes and he was sitting side by the road. There was a pontoon bridge across the river and cars, trucks and men, women and children were crossing it. There was one pontoon bridge of the span, a bridge which made up of large hollow contents of which filled with air. This is called pontoon bridge. There was one pontoon bridge across the river, and many of cars and trucks and men and women and children were crossing over it. The mule-drawn carts stretched upon the steep bank from the bridge, with soldiers helping pushing against the spokes of the wheels. The mule-drum carts stretched. Mule-drum stretched means moving untreatedly. Moving untreatedly means very tight. They were very tight to move, and upon the street bank from the bridge, and soldiers helping pushing against to spoke their wheels. And street bank from the bridge, they were crossing the bridge and soldiers were helping them to push their wheels. The truck ground up and away, heading out of it. All the pigeons plowed along it, the ankle-deep dust. The truck was standing there, and many of pigeons plodded on the truck and ankle-deep dust. Many of the pigeons were climbed up the truck and they were settled there. But the old man sat there without moving. He was too tired to go any further. But here the soldier is telling that, but the old man was still sitting there, and he was very tired to go any further. He was so tired that he cannot walk. Now the soldier turned. It was my business to cross the bridge, explore the bridge headed beyond, and find out to what point the enemy had advanced. I did this and returned over the bridge. There was no so many cars now, a very few people on foot, but the old man was still there. Here the soldier is telling, it was my business to cross the bridge. It was my business to cross the bridge and explore the bridge headed beyond and find out what point the enemy had advanced. It was my business to cross the bridge and see what far the enemy has advanced, means coming, what far the enemy has come. I did this and returned over the bridge. He did this and returned over the bridge, and he saw that there were not so many cars and some of people were walking on the foot, but old man was still there. Where do you come from? I asked. Soldier asking, where do you come from? Then old man replied, from San Carlos, he said and smiled. He told his native town name San Carlos, which is in Spain, and he smiled. That was his native town, and so it gave him pleasure to mention it, and he smiled. That was his native town. Native town means where he was born. That was his native town. So it gave him pleasure. It gave him pleasure to mention his native town name, and he smiled. I was taking care of animal, he explained. And old man telling that he was taking care of animal, he explained. Oh, I said, not quite understanding. Now the soldier said, oh, I said, and not understanding. He said that, and he quite not understanding also. Yes, he said, I stayed, you see, taking care of animals. I was the last one to leave the town San Carlos. The old man was telling, yes. Then he told that I was taking care of animals there, but and I was the last one to leave the town of San Carlos. He was the last person to leave his native town. He did not look a shepherd nor a herdsman, and I looked at his black dusty clothes and his grey dusty face and his steel rimmed spectacle and said, what animal were there? But when writer see him, he was not looking like a shepherd. Shepherd means who